Today I'm going to talk about introverted feeling and extroverted feeling with an example. I'm going to use two characters, and one of them I feel like really embodies introverted feeling and the other really extroverted feeling. So it's going to be the show Shira, and I do want to give a warning, and that's that I will discuss things that happened in the show up until the end, basically. So if you don't want spoilers, it's best not to watch this video. I filmed it from my laptop with my phone, so that's why the quality is kind of bad, because I filmed it myself, because that's the only way to get this video done, like in a relatively short time. On a positive note, I got exactly all the parts that I wanted, and I think that's most important for this video. The two main characters are Catra and Adora. Catra is the villain, basically, in the story, and Adora is actually the main character, and she is the hero. And you might already see this one coming, but the hero, Adora, is going to embody extroverted feeling, and Catra, the villain, is going to embody introverted feeling. Now, I'm not by any means trying to say that introverted feeling is more evil or something like that, but I do want to emphasize one thing. Extroverted feeling is often associated with heroes in general, but that's more like a stereotype. You know those characters, those 16 personalities characters? The INFJ is being represented by like the main character, you know, the hero. And in this case, at least, I do think that Adora has extroverted feeling. And I honestly have no idea what people guess that their types are. My guesses are that Adora might be something like an ENFJ and Catra might be an ISFP. I think that they're both feelers. Honestly, the only reason why I'm gonna go for Adora ENFJ and Catra ISFP is because that means that there's a combination of, for Catra, you know, introverted feeling and extroverted sensing, and for Adora, extroverted feeling and extrovert sensing. That means that they both also have relatively strong extrovert sensing, which I think suits them because they are often shown in fights. So like they're supposed to be good at fighting, and extroverted sensing, I think, makes people better at that kind of stuff. So Catra and Adora are best friends, but they're also supposedly a couple, but like not yet. In the show, there's like hints to their romantic connection, but I'm not gonna go into that in any depth in this video because that's not the point of this video.
What'd she say? Hey, what's this? Hey, give it back. But it's not a big deal. Are you kidding? That is awesome. We're gonna see the world and conquer it. Adora, I need to blow something up. I've always wanted to drive one of these things. Here, get me. Hey, Adora. Adora! Catra? What happened? You fell out of the skiff after you drove it into a tree. No, you drove it into a tree. Up for debate. I don't know about you, but I am having a blast. Whatever it is you're planning, it won't work. You sure?
So there's this like evil group called the Horde, and Catra and Adora grew up there, both of them, and actually it wasn't really clear that these people were evil. They weren't very aware of that, or at least Adora wasn't. And they both were kind of practicing to be like become good soldiers, but they didn't really go on any missions yet. So the idea is that at some point this evil group is fighting with the good people, who are these princesses who have powers, and they fight with their powers. And then at some point Adora and Catra kind of are faced with this battle, and then Adora realizes that what the Horde is doing, is hurting innocent people, and Adora is not okay with that. And Catra kind of has a different stance on it. She doesn't really think that what they're doing is that bad. Adora, she notices that, innocent people are being hurt, and she starts feeling a certain responsibility. And I feel like that's more so with extroverted feeling in general, because introverted feeling is more about like your own personal values, so it can really differ what those values are according to the person. So someone who has introverted feeling might not really care about, what happens to these innocent people, because maybe that's not one of their values at all. Whereas extroverted feeling is a bit more general. For extrovert feelers, it's a bit more difficult to ignore how other people are feeling. So this can lead to different things. It can lead to people becoming, for example, very agreeable, which is also mentioned at some point. I will show this part 2 later on, where Catra calls Adora a people pleaser. And that's also a thing that extroverted feeling can turn into, because people start being very aware of how do all the people feel, and then kind of want to keep the peace and keep the harmony, and almost feeling responsible for other people's feelings.
Look, there's no time. We have to put a stop to this. What? Why? Because this is a civilian town. Look around. These aren't insurgents. They're innocent people. Yeah, sure. Innocent people who kidnapped a Horde officer. Now, come on. Let's get you back to the right zone. Shadow Weaver is freaking out. Catra, no. I can't go back. Not until the Horde leaves this town alone. You have to help me. What are you saying? I'm saying this is wrong. She's been messing with our heads since we were kids. How could you possibly be okay with that? Because it doesn't matter what they do. The two of us look out for each other. And soon we'll be the ones calling the shots. I'm not going home, Catra. I can't. Not after everything I've seen. Come with me. You don't have to go back there. We can fix this. Are you kidding? You've known these people for what? A couple of hours? And now you're gonna throw everything away for them? Oh, what happened to you?
And I think that that's kind of what's going on here with Adora, that she's kind of like, okay, all these people are hurting and I cannot ignore it. Whereas Catra doesn't feel any responsibility for these random people, because the interesting thing is Adora wants to leave and wants to help these people. And then Catra tells her, like, why do you care about these people when you've only known them for like a day? And I think that's what I want to emphasize for the difference between introverted feeling and extroverted feeling, is that, someone's values for someone with introverted feeling are incredibly personal and incredibly strong. So it's usually based on a lot of personal stuff. For example, for Catra, it's kind of like, she might be like, I care about the people I know. I've known the people I've known for years. I care about them. Then she doesn't understand why Adora would literally give her entire life up for these people she's known for like a day. But, for Adora, it doesn't have to be this personal value. It kind of is a general responsibility that she feels for all people. Whether she knows them or not, doesn't matter. And I feel like that's a bit more an extroverted feeling thing. So then what happens is that Adora leaves Catra. She tells Catra, like, you can come with me. And then Catra says no. Then the thing is, Catra feels betrayed because Adora's leaving her behind. But then Adora kind of thinks like, well, why does Catra feel betrayed when I told her, you can come with me, we can stay together. You know, we can stay together if you want. On top of that, you know, they promised each other to stay together, basically. Or Adora kind of promised Catra that they would stay together always. So then what happens? At first, Catra feels sad, but later on she turns into the villain and kind of just actively fighting Adora. There's also this thing where Adora and Catra were both taken in by this kind of mother figure who's called Shadow Weaver. And the thing was that Catra has always been kind of emotionally manipulated by her, and well, Adora too, but like in a different way, because she favored Adora and she was always really negative towards Catra and kind of, you know, always blaming her for everything and never showing any love to her. But she did to Adora, which for Catra, you know, kind of led to some inner conflict, because she's kind of like, well, I love Adora, but at the same time, she also gets everything that I never had, you know, like Adora gets everything that Catra always wanted, she, you know, like love from a mother figure or praise and just, you know, a high position, being promoted, all these things that she didn't get, even though she was strong enough, she had enough capabilities. And then all of this kind of makes Catra turn into a villain, where she's also angry with Adora, so she's kind of just like, well, I'm not going to admit that I'm actually hurt, you know, I'm going to try and protect my identity, which is a thing that a lot of people do. But then again, I feel like with people, for example, who lead with Fi, this might be a bit stronger, because Fi is a function that's all about identity. You know, it's all about who am I and how do I feel about things. So people with introvert feeling high up often have a very strong will and sense of identity. So I feel like Catra wanted to protect her identity by never admitting that she was hurt, and instead just kind of telling herself that she needed to win in order to prove her own worth to herself, basically. And that she would never give up, no matter what.
Why can't you just stay? We have everything we ever wanted. It's open.
What do you think you're doing here?
We were just playing.
Insolent child. I've come to expect such disgraceful behavior from you. But I will not allow you to drag Adora down as well.
Shadow Weaver, it wasn't her fault. It was my idea, too.
You have never been anything more than a nuisance to me. I've kept you around this long because Adora was fond of you. But if you ever do anything to jeopardize her future, I will dispose of you myself. Do you understand?
Please, stop. She didn't mean to.
Adora, you must do a better job of keeping her under control. Do not let something like this happen again.
You always need to play the hero, don't you? I have to go save the world. Spare me the speech. I guess it sure must be easy being a people pleaser like you. I was only trying to protect you. You never protected me. Not in any way that would put you on Shadow Weaver's bad side.
Then what I also want to point at is that Adora kind of shows extroverted feeling traits, in the sense of she always feels the need to like keep harmony, to like keep the peace. Now, I'm not going to say that everyone who has strong extrovert feeling always does that, but there is a tendency. It also kind of depends on your like Enneagram type, for example. You have like Enneagram type 9, which is all about wanting to keep harmony and stuff. For example, with me, I feel like I prefer to keep the harmony, but if I feel really strongly about something, then I will definitely not want to keep the harmony. But I feel like for people who lead with extrovert feeling, it may be a bit more difficult. So, you know, I don't lead with extrovert feeling. I can put it aside a bit more easily. Someone who leads with extrovert feeling might really have difficulty with like breaking the peace or the harmony. And introverted feelers don't have that as much. So with Adora, what happens is that Shadow Weaver favored her, but she tried to keep the peace between both Shadow Weaver and Catra. So she was always like, you know, Catra, I will protect you when needed, I will help you. As you can see in the video, that she's like, please stop this, or please don't hurt her, you know. But what Catra says is like, you didn't actually protect me, because you would protect me up until when it was acceptable, you know, but you wouldn't go over the line and do something that put you on Shadow Weaver's bad side. Adora wanted to keep the peace. She didn't want Shadow Weaver to dislike her, but I feel like Catra, you know, would have done it. Catra is the kind of person who wouldn't care about keeping the peace. She would care about protecting Adora more if she had been in her position. So that's the thing with Fe can seem more heroic, because Fe is kind of like, I want to help everyone. So Adora feels responsible for people even when she only just met them and she wants to help them. And Catra doesn't. But at the same time, Fi can also be heroic in a sense where the things that they do care about are so important to them that they, you know, they would break the peace for that.
Admit it. You love being her favorite. That's not true. Oh, yeah? When you left, who do you think took the fall for you? Who was protecting me then? I don't want to leave. What don't you understand about that? I'm not afraid of Shadow Weaver anymore, and I'm a better Force captain than you would have ever been. You always said you didn't care about things like that. Well, I was lying, obviously.
Oh, it all makes sense now. You've always been the one holding me back. You wanted me to think I needed you. You wanted me to feel weak. Every hero needs a sidekick, right?
Catra, no, that's not how it was.
The sad thing is, I've spent all this time hoping you'd come back to the Horde, when really you leaving was the best thing that ever happened to me. I am so much stronger than anyone ever thought. I wonder what I could have been if I'd gotten rid of you sooner.
I'm sorry. I never meant to make you feel like you were second best. Please don't do this.
Bye, Adora. I really am going to miss you.
Catra! Catra, look what's happening! You're going to destroy everything! I don't care. I won't let you win. I'd rather see the whole world end than let that happen.
Catra?
Catra, it's okay. It's just me. It doesn't matter what they do to us, you know? You look out for me, and I look out for you. Nothing really bad can happen as long as we have each other. You promise? I promise.
You promise? I promise. Everything will be okay if we just stay together. This can't be what you wanted. Don't you get it? I am never going to go with you.
Catra has these doubts, you know, so she decided to become the villain, and then she started doubting everything because deep down she knows that she loves Adora and she doesn't hate her. And she starts feeling guilty for all the things that she has done, because deep down she knows that she just did it to protect herself as defense mechanism instead of wanting it. She never wanted to be a villain. She just didn't know how to deal with her own pain.
This time, I am going to win. I don't care what it takes. We are opening that portal now. No, I won't. I need to tell Horde. He'll understand. Get her out of here.
What did you do to me?
Why did you do it? Stay away from me!
You know, it took me a while, but I finally figured out your character.
You try so hard to play the big, bad villain, but your heart's never been in it, has it? What do you... Stop! Stop it! People have hurt you, haven't they?
They didn't believe in you. They didn't trust you.
Didn't need you. Left you.
But did you ever stop to think? Maybe they're not the problem?
It's you. You drive them away, Wildcat.
What is the status of the woods?
Our raiding parties have crushed the villages near our current outpost. Tomorrow, we move farther inland. Everything is under control. To hit Lonnie. It's okay, but I'll tell them. They won't be mad. But first you gotta come out and tell her you're sorry. Why'd you do it? I know it's your favorite. What are you doing? You're missing dinner, and I am too.
Just go! Eat with your new best friend, Lonnie!
Is that why you hit her?
I know you like her better than me. You're supposed to be my friend.
I am your friend, Catra. I'm always gonna be your friend.
And then after this, Catra, she decides to join Adora and the good people. I also want to talk about one thing where, again, I talked about introverts not feeling responsible for everybody, but only for what they personally care about. So, there's this point where Glimmer, which is just another character who's on Adora's side, where Glimmer says are you saving me? And then Catra says, not you, Adora. So basically, Catra can be a hero, but she's not gonna be a hero for everyone. She's gonna be a hero for the people she cares about, not just for a stranger. And Adora is, Adora's a hero for everyone. So then Adora also says to Catra, you never listen to anyone in your life, which really implies this thing with introverted feeling, I think, being kind of stubborn and listening to yourself above anyone else, because it's about identity. And this whole thing about being like strong-willed that I talked about earlier.
What are you doing? What does it look like? I'm getting you out of here. Wait, are you saving me? Not you, Adora.
I'll never say sorry to anybody, ever.
Catra, I don't understand. What is...
Just listen! Adora, I'm sorry! For everything!
Snap out of it, Catra! I don't want to hurt you! But you have already hurt me. Prime has set me free of that pain. The pain that you caused. Come on, Catra! You've never listened to anyone in your life. Are you really going to start now? I'm going to take you home. Promise. I promise.
And then Catra also tells Adora, like, why do you always have to risk your own life to save others? And then she's like, what do you want?
Why? Why are you like this? Why do you always have to sacrifice everything for everyone else? When do you get to choose? What do you want, Adora?
Why do you only care about what other people want? And I also want to really imply this difference between introverted feeling and extroverted feeling, where introverted feeling is about what does this person want. And if that's all about I want to protect someone, I want to help someone, then they're gonna do it. But it's about what FI is about, what do you want? And then FE is about what do the other people want. So people, for example, who have dominant extroverted feeling are gonna almost suppress their own opinion because they are just so focused on how other people feel about things. And Adora is just so focused on helping these people that she's not really focused on what she wants for herself. Because both extroverted feeling and extroverted thinking are focused on kind of taking action based on how other people feel about things. With extroverted thinking, it's kind of like whenever you're trying to do some logical reasoning, then you're gonna look at how does everyone else reason about this, then I'm going to incorporate that and kind of, take an action based on what everybody thinks makes logical sense. But with feeling is how does everyone feel? And that's what Adora will base her actions on more than on what she wants. And it's not like an extroverted feeler doesn't know necessarily what they want or or never acts on it. It's just that they will repress it a lot more. They will ignore it a lot more because they still do it. They still have a sense of self, but it's going to be more difficult to act on it. They're not going to act on it as much, especially when you compare them with, for example, someone who leads with introverted feeling, who will always act on what they want themselves. So I think that was all I wanted to say about introverted feeling and extroverted feeling and these comparisons between these two characters. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.